What played out in that fourth quarter wasn't football. It was humiliation broadcast in real time. It was a coach staring down an entire fan base, his own team, and his franchise quarterback, silently declaring that he'd rather go down with his system than admit he was wrong. The crowd begged, pleaded, screamed for life, but Stefanski refused to listen. It was the moment the mask came off. The moment the people of Cleveland realized that their coach didn't just lose touch with the fans, he lost the locker room. And standing in the middle of that storm was Shedeur Sanders, the young phenom who was supposed to be the franchise's future, left humiliated and ignored while his coach drowned in pride. To understand the explosion on Sunday, you have to understand how it all began. This season was doomed long before kickoff. It began with a decision so baffling that even insiders didn't know what to make of it. After Joe Flacco resurrected this very team last year, dragging them into playoff contention when everyone had counted them out, Stefanski and the front office repaid him by trading him to the Bengals. Not just another team, a division rival, a betrayal so calculated that it felt personal. And who did they hand the offense to instead? Gabriel, a rookie system quarterback, safe but uninspiring. Alongside him, they drafted Shedeur Sanders, the most hyped college prospect in the country, son of prime time, dripping in charisma, swagger, and NFL pedigree. The contrast couldn't have been sharper. Gabriel was the kind of player Stefanski could control. Quiet, analytical, obedient. Shedeur was the opposite. Flashy, fearless, dangerous, the kind of player who could make an entire fan base believe again, and that terrified Stefanski. So from the start, the writing was on the wall. The coach picked safety. The fans wanted fire, and when you bet on safety in Cleveland, you bet on failure. By the time Sunday arrived, the season was already circling the drain. Gabriel's offense had been a disaster, an endless parade of checkdowns, 3-and-outs, and lifeless drives. The defense, led by the unstoppable Myles Garrett, was the only thing keeping this team alive. So when the Browns found themselves clinging to a miserable 13-10 lead late in the fourth quarter, the fans had seen enough. Every missed throw, every sack, every wasted drive boiled over until the chants began. It started as a whisper high up in the cheap seats, then spread like wildfire through the stadium. "We want Sanders! We want Sanders!" And here's where it turned cinematic. Shedeur heard them. The kid everyone accused of having bad body language and an inflated ego stood up. He didn't pout, didn't smirk, he went to work. He peeled off his warm-up jacket, grabbed his helmet, and began throwing bullets into the practice net. Every pass was a message. Every spiral was defiance. The cameras caught it, the jumbotron flashed it, and the entire stadium exploded. This was the moment. The prodigy was ready. The fans were ready. The team was desperate. The story was begging to write itself. But then came the silence. Stefanski stood there on the sideline like a man carved from stone. No expression, no movement, no acknowledgement. He looked straight past Shedeur as if the kid didn't exist. Then he did the unthinkable. He sent Gabriel, the same quarterback who had just gone 3-and-out again, back onto the field. The boos were deafening. It was one of the loudest, most unified acts of defiance the city had ever delivered to its own head coach. You could feel decades of frustration pouring out with every shout. But Stefanski didn't flinch. He was making a statement, one louder than any chant. "I will not bend." That wasn't a football decision. That was a power play. This was Stefanski's ego declaring war on the city that feeds his paycheck. A real football mind adapts, takes risks, fights to win. But Stefanski wasn't fighting for victory anymore. He was fighting for control. To him, Shedeur wasn't just a player. He was a threat. A symbol of everything the coach couldn't control. Swagger, attention, and belief. If Shedeur stepped on that field and lit it up, the city would belong to him. The locker room would belong to him. The team would belong to him. And Stefanski couldn't let that happen. Behind closed doors, whispers began to spread like wildfire. People inside the facility claimed the coach hated the primetime circus. They said he resented the cameras, the hype, the swagger. He wanted soldiers, not stars. And Shedeur, confident, charismatic, headline-grabbing, was the anti-Stefanski. Reports say the relationship was frosty from day one. The coach's quiet, rigid personality clashing with Shedeur's energy and confidence. The result? A coach who would rather suffocate his own team than hand over the spotlight. Meanwhile, the locker room is crumbling. You've got rookies whispering, "Why won't he just play the kid?" You've got veterans like Myles Garrett and Amari Cooper trying to hold the team together, but even they know the truth. This offense is broken, and everyone can see it. Even Deshaun Watson, the former $230 million man who's become a ghost in this saga, couldn't resist. He's liking social media posts trashing Stefanski, publicly endorsing the same outrage the fans are feeling. That's not just dysfunction. That's mutiny, and poor Dylan Gabriel. The kid never stood a chance. He's not the villain here, he's the pawn. He's the face Stefanski hides behind while trying to prove his system still works. But the truth is, Gabriel is drowning. Every time he takes the field, the boos grow louder. He knows the fans want Shedeur. He knows his coach is using him as a shield, and that pressure is eating him alive. It's not his fault. He's just trapped in the crossfire of a war he didn't start. Stefanski's defenders love to throw around analytics, talking about Shedeur's high sack rate or his Superman complex, but those excuses are paper thin. You know who else had a Superman complex? Brett Favre. You know who else held the ball too long? Ben Roethlisberger. You know who else had confidence mistaken for arrogance? Shedeur Sanders himself. That's what greatness looks like before it's proven. That's what separates legends from placeholders. What we're watching in Cleveland right now isn't just bad coaching. It's a masterclass in self-destruction. A coach too scared to evolve, too proud to share power, and too blind to see the storm building around him. He's not leading a team. He's clinging to an illusion. His system has failed, his culture has crumbled, and the fans have turned against him. But he refuses to change, even as the walls close in. So yeah, the Browns won. But it didn't feel like it. It felt like the final straw. Because when Kevin Stefanski looked at that crowd, looked at Shedeur Sanders warming up, looked at his own dying offense, and still chose to double down, he didn't just bench a quarterback. He benched hope. He benched belief. He benched the soul of a city that has waited too long for a hero. And that's what makes this story tragic. The Browns finally have the player who could end decades of pain. He's sitting right there, helmet in hand, ready to play. But he's trapped behind a man so afraid of losing power that he's willing to burn the house down to prove a point. The chance for Shedeur won't stop. The pressure won't fade. This story isn't finished, it's about to explode. And when it does, Kevin Stefanski may be the one left standing in the wreckage, wondering how it all slipped away. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Has Kevin Stefanski crossed the line from stubborn to self-destructive? Has Shedeur Sanders earned the right to take over this team right now, or should the Browns stick with the system that's already sinking them? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear what the dog pound really thinks. And if you're just as fired up about this as we are, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next chapter in this ongoing disaster. Because trust me, this storm in Cleveland has only just begun.